throw it up on screen.
Yeah, it's on screen.
All right. Well, our first item for economic indicators. So this is from Macro Edge. U.S. companies announced just 1,494 new jobs in August, the lowest for the month since 2009. There was not much happening in the economy in 2009. That was Obama's first full year in there. The 2008, September 2008, that's when Lehman Brothers had blown up. So job cuts surged by 39%. 85,979 people got let go. So that's not good. So this is what happens when the money supply contracts. So as money supply contracts, so does the economy. People got to cut back, companies cut back. And the people that go on unemployment, it's taking them longer to find jobs. So next slide, Chunkmeister. So the U.S. now has more unemployed people than there are job openings for the first time since April of 2021. So there's a lot more competition for the jobs.
And there's just gonna be less and less jobs now with like between AI and automation too. Like think of robots just doing a lot of manual labor jobs too. A lot of factory
that's
jobs
coming in the next few years too.
A lot of factory jobs are mostly just automated now. Like there's not that many. You don't have people working on a factory line really.
You go to McDonald's, it'll be a Tesla robot.
Or like at Amazon warehouses, a lot of those people are getting replaced by just the robots that carry the packages around.
Yeah, that's.
Or look at like McDonald's, like they have those self-service kiosks. So many other restaurants have those now too. Even like nicer restaurants are starting to get self-service kiosks.
Yeah.
What? Oh, I had a question. So, do you think they're doing like cuts for like the food stamps and like the Medicaid and stuff, which I'm happy about because those people don't work.
Well, what they said is you can't buy sugary drinks and garbage food because what happens, you got these TikTok influencers, which are people that got, usually it's single moms with like 10 kids and every kid's from a different dad. And a lot of times they don't even know who the fucking father is because they don't really care. Because government, every time they have an additional kid, they get more money every month for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the EBT cards, I guess they call it.
Yeah.
And
Snap.
So they don't want people buying sugary drinks and sodas and candy and other kind of garbage food because these people, they get like tens of thousands of dollars because they get so many kids and members of their family on welfare basically. And they're taking them shopping at Costco. Oh, we're buying this. Look at the juice. Look at the Capri Sun. Oh, look at all the candy bars we got. Look at all the sugary drinks. And so they basically changed it so there's certain foods that you're just not going to be able to buy with it. So that's not going to be good for the companies that sell sodas and the sugary drinks and stuff like that. So people are already complaining about that, but it makes a mockery because these people have no intention of working.
No.
And there's no incentive. They have more kids, they get more government benefits. They don't really they're not working, they just sit at home all the time and they're making TikTok videos. They want to be an influencer. Yeah.
And it's like,
and that they're just all of them are fucking fat and disgusting and just buying a cartload of junk. Yeah. And it's like, oh, look at my big haul. None of these people work. And it's like, we work and we have our taxes taken out of our paychecks. And they give it to these fat, useless people that are just a bunch of parasites, basically. And the Democrats want to keep the money flowing to them because they always vote for Democrats, obviously. So it's not fair. So if people had to earn their own way, they wouldn't be sitting there fucking around with TikTok videos and eating all that crappy food and having all those kids with, men that they don't even remember who they boned.
Yeah, and people are getting like bumped off like Medicaid. Like if you can work and you just choose not to work and you want to have Medicaid, that's stupid.
Well, it's also the same people like they want like free healthcare, but they buy all this junk food and they're the fattest, most out of shape people that would cost so much for. The reason we can't have free healthcare is we have too many fucking fat people. Like it's just not.
Well, it's 20% of the people are absorbing 80% of the expenses for healthcare, and plus you got families where like. Grandma and great grandma was the first person that got on it, and all of their kids that came after them are all on Section 8 housing, welfare, their foods. I mean, they don't do anything. They don't work. They just sit at home, and the rest of us basically pay for them to do nothing.
And pay for their kids' school lunches and everything else.
Yeah, everything else. Oh, I'm poor. So that's just, it's just enabled by the Democrats because again, they care about the votes. They don't give a shit about the morality of it. They want their power. So this is interesting. Because when we look at like what happened in 2008, 9, 10, last time around, usually it's blamed on the subprime industry and all that. But the reality is what really caused the real estate market to implode was the people with good credit that started walking away from their homes and doing short sales because they were upside down. In other words, they owed more money in the mortgage than the property was worth. And so now what you're seeing, this is from Unusual Whales reporting from Reuters. This is a Reuters report. U.S. consumers with the highest credit card scores are starting to fall behind in their debt payments. So what that means is they're maxing out. They're maxing out their credit cards. They're maxing out their home equity line of credit. They can't borrow any more money. And when that happens, they stop paying. They stop paying, then you start having delinquencies. When the delinquencies get too high, then you get banks failing. Because too many people are not paying back their loans. Then the banks become insolvent.
Damn. This is kind of crazy.
Bankruptcy. Oh, so these are search terms, I assume, probably on Google.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's not a good curve. So this is what happens. Because Powell will not lower interest rates. He's like, everything is fine. They're always too late. When they finally realize that the economy is really going south, it's been happening for months. And just because they lower the rates, it doesn't stop it from happening. It's literally years in the making. They started raising rates back in 2022, March of 2022. Now we're in September 2025, through over 3 years later. And so they kept the interest rates higher for longer this time, longer than they did during 2006 to 2007, because I think it was 2007 when they started lowering, early 2007 they started lowering rates. I mean, last year it looks like it was Powell had 2 interest rate drops because he's trying to help Biden get elected.
Yeah.
And he just, we're just gonna keep on keeping on. We don't need to change anything. So he doesn't want to lower rates. That's why Trump wants to get rid of them. But once those guys are confirmed, the president can't really fire them. So we're kind of stuck with the assholes. They don't care. He doesn't care if he's rich. Powell's rich. He doesn't care if the economy crashes. Doesn't affect him at all. So credit card accounts that are 90 days delinquent reached 12.27%, which is 1.4 percentage points below the all-time high of 13.7% recorded in the second quarter of 2011, marking a 14-year peak. So in other words, the highest delinquency rate, 90 days past due.
I think they have a chart here too.
So basically the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis, or the Global Financial Crisis, if you want to call it that,
just shoots up.
So you look at these things and you're just like, hello. But, it's like, how could the Fed governors look at that and go, they did have 2 dissent, which is, I don't think that's ever happened before. You had 2 of the governors were like, we need to lower rates. And Powell's like, no. So I don't think they've ever had that happen in the history of the Federal Reserve, where 2 governors didn't agree on their policy. So it's like, what is there, 12 of them, I think, and they all vote on it. 10 of them said keep rates steady. 2 of them said we need to lower. Powell said, fuck you, we're not lowering. He doesn't like the orange man. Orange man bad. The delinquency rate on commercial-backed securities for offices surged 62 basis points in August to a record of 11%. Oh, man, these dogs just fucking farted. It's brutal.
Oh, jeez. It's Jesus Christ.
So this is a full percentage point above the post-2008 peak of 10.7%. So one of the things that's different about this time around is a lot of companies realize, like work for home, Plus, with AI, they need less people and they need less office space. And so what's happening is there is a lot of vacancy. The vacancy in office space is like 20%. And so what this means is when your vacancy rates overall in commercial real estate across the country are 20%, they get too much vacancy. Their numbers don't work. And especially if they're having to refi their loan at the higher rates versus what they got the loan at, before the pandemic, then what ends up happening is those properties end up going back to the bank, and because there's such a high number of them, then you get bank failures. So I would expect to see bank failures probably sometime next year. So we're kind of like in 2008, I mean 2007 right now. And so next year would be around so the interest rates were increased starting in September 2004. Lehman Brothers happened in September 2008. So it took 4 years for things to blow up. Interest rates first started going up, I think it was March of 2022. So that will be March of 2026 will be 4 years. So I would expect sometime next year, because these numbers are deteriorating pretty quickly. And like I said, by the time the Fed actually does something about it, I mean that's the worst it's ever been. That's worse. The delinquency rate on commercial office loans, commercial buildings. And again, it's because so many companies that downsize. They don't need as much office space. A lot of them are working remotely, or with AI, they need less workers, so they need less office space. And so it's overbuilt basically. So what's going to happen is you're going to have debt destruction. Banks are going to take these properties back, and then they're going to sell them for 40, 50 cents in the dollar, maybe even less, because it's supply and demand. If nobody's willing to buy, then the bank's going to take whatever they can get for it. Next slide. Below.
Sherwin Williams, stop matching 401k with no timeline. Should I keep contributing or put my money elsewhere?
What, should he keep contributing to his?
Yeah, Sherwin Williams, even though they stopped matching what he was putting in.
Well, the real issue depends on, are you good at picking stocks or not? And just because they stopped matching, what kind of a fund is it in, and can you transfer it? Are you vested in it? I would talk to a financial advisor in your country that's licensed to advise you on those things. Me personally, I invest in stocks that I believe in. And I believe in believing in the companies and believing in the CEO and their value proposition. I like their product or service. And but that's me. If you, again, like Warren Buffett says, if you're not good at picking stocks, then you should just put your money into some kind of index fund that's tied to the S&P 500, and do that. So again, I don't know how good you are at picking stocks, but it sounds like everything's going into your 401k. So the important thing is you pay yourself first. So if you net $5,000 a month, then 20% of that is $1,000. So $1,000 gets set aside to pay yourself first, to go into your stocks, your investments, whatever you're going to put your money away to pay yourself first with. And then the other 80%, the other 4,000, if you're netting 5,000 a month, that's what you had to pay your rent, your car payment, your bills, money to live off of. So before anything happens, before you pay the first bill, the 20% comes off the top, and whatever is left is what you can spend on your bills or Las Vegas or whatever. Take a girl out. Spend money on puppies that fart all the time. Smoke you out.